Hi, this is Angela Lester with X to the L, and I have the pleasure of speaking with the fabulous Honey Larochelle today. How are you doing?
I'm great, girl. How are you?
I am terrific. It's beautiful here. I'm not sure if you knew I'm in Memphis, Tennessee. So it's really nice here.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I'm in Memphis. Even though our team is spread out across the country, I call my home Memphis.
Memphis.
And where are you located?
Well, right now I'm on my way from Orlando to Miami. I have my release party in Miami this evening. So I'm in the car. We're doing our road trip. I got a girlfriend with me, and we're just having a blast. It's gorgeous. It's sunny. It's awesome.
Oh, great. Now, do you live in the Florida area, or?
No, I've been on tour since January. I've just been going to different cities, having my release party in those cities, promoting the album like a mad woman because the album came out mid-March. So yeah, I've just been going and going. And the past month I've been to Brazil, Jamaica, St. Thomas, New York, and now I'm in Florida.
You've been living the life, man. That's
yes,
great.
girl, yes.
Well, I know your name is... I'm sorry.
Sorry?
Well, I know your name is Melissa Maya Larochelle.
Yes.
But you're professionally known as Honey. How did you choose that name?
Actually, Melissa means honeybee in all the Roman languages. So it's been my nickname all of my life. I took it on as my actual stage name when I was 18. But, you know, when I was a little girl, I used to be really proud of my name. Actually, my middle name is spelled Maya, M-Y-A, but it's pronounced Mia. It's an African word that means giver. Okay. So I used to run around telling everybody the translation. My name means Honeybee Giver the Rock. So I've always had Honeybee as part of my identity. And then when I took it on, it was more authentic. I went through a bunch of names, but, you know, I finally figured out who I was, and I wanted to keep it more authentic and keep it closer to home. So it was Honeybee for years, and then when I started to try and make a website and email addresses, I was online and I was looking for, you know, a .com I could make my own, and all of the honeybee.coms were taken by porn stars and strippers. So, so I dropped the B. I added my real last name and kept it together, and now I'm the only Honey Larochelle that I know of. It's working out.
That's great. Now, it's so funny because I have when you say that it's from your childhood, my grandmother used to call me Sister Sweet. And
oh, really?
Yeah, and once she passed in 2009, I took that on as my kind of my brand, my personality. So if you never know, they call me Sister Sweet.
I love it. I love it.
So, kind of a sweetie too, along with the honeybee. Now, your son, Canadian girl, says that you were born in Vancouver, raised in Texas, reformed in Florida, and saved in Brooklyn.
Yes.
I am particularly interested in that reformed and saved part.
Well, you know, when I was a kid, we moved to Texas, and before I left Vancouver, Canada, I had never seen a fight in my life. You know, if kids wanted to hurt other kids, they would say things like, "I'm not your friend anymore," and it would be, you know, that was the worst thing that could ever happen. You know, we really aren't a violent country by nature. But so my first day of school in Texas, there were 9 fights on campus. And I saw one happen, and nobody broke it up. There were no authorities anywhere, and I don't know to this day if the boy lived or died because he started having a seizure, and his eyes were completely swollen shut, and his lip was falling off of his face, and it was the most horrendous sight I had ever seen in my life. So I really had to, you know, get hard really quick. And so Texas definitely, you know, it changed me, and I learned how to be gangster really quickly. I was a complete wannabe. Like, there's no way I would ever really be a gangster, but, you know, I had to protect myself. So when I moved to Florida, it was like my saving grace. I sent this woman who was an artist manager. She was working with NSYNC and Pink and Britney Spears at the time, and I sent her my demo, and she sent me a plane ticket, and I was supposed to go meet her for the weekend and see if she wanted to work with me, and I packed everything I owned, and I just never intended to go back to Texas ever. Mm-hmm. And so that, for me, Florida was my reform stage where I was able to get it back together and spent a few years in Florida. Mm-hmm. And then finally, I moved to New York, which was my dream from childhood age, to move to New York and be a soul singer on the scene. And I was able to do that in 2005. So that's my story.
So you're Brooklynite.
Brooklynite all the way.
All the way.
I was there for about a year, and then I got my first world tour, and I've been on tour ever since.
Yeah, no, I see you have a formidable pedigree, having toured with Roberta Flack, Brand New Heavies, Macy Gray, Jack Stone, Lori Support.
Yeah.
That's great. What have you learned from working with them?
What have I learned? Oh, so much. The Brand New Heavies was the first band to ever take me on the road. And touring with them is like touring with Austin Powers himself. Brit's humor is hilarious. They party like rock stars, and the music is so funky and soulful. And so, you know, as a background singer, and Dia Davenport is a classic. She's an incredible vocalist, and it taught me a lot about performance, about the difference between certain stages and audiences, and how to work a crowd. And I learned the art of rocking a show with the Brand New Heavies. And then when I started working with Roberta, to be honest, is the pinnacle for me. That was when I really learned the most. Miss Roberta Flack is a legend. She's a living legend, and she has, so many stories about all these times she worked with Quincy Jones, Michael Jackson, Marvin Gaye, Donny Hathaway, of course. So that, just even in the stories, I've learned so much. But I also learned the power of silence on a stage, and the power of singing softly and not always going in and rocking out, and blasting a show, but actually the art of manipulating a crowd through taking your time and being soft and sweet with it, which is also a very powerful moment. You can create these moments for the audience that sometimes are more moving than the really loud, obnoxious moments, which I didn't learn. I didn't know that until I started working with her.
Okay. And how was it working with Macy Gray? I got to believe. Are you on her label, or?
I was signed to Macy's label for 3 years.
Okay.
It was a wonderful learning experience. While I was signed to her, she always kept encouraging me to write. So while I was with her, I think I wrote about 90 songs.
Wow.
And it was I definitely became a stronger writer. She put me in the studio with a lot of incredible writers and producers, and I was also touring at the time, so I was meeting amazing people. And it was just a really, it was a grow-up chapter of my life. So now my catalog is full. I have 4 records ready to go. This is the first record, The Yes Feeling, that just came out in March. And, but I have 4 recorded and ready, so I have a lot more material to share with people. And that's all thanks to Macy. She definitely facilitated a lot of writing for me.
I'm sorry, you have 4 albums ready to go?
I do. I have more than 4 albums worth of material. I have a lot more than 4 albums, but I feel like, usually you record 12 songs, you pick the best 6 or 7, so by the time I'm through, a lot of them are going to never see the light of day, but I have some songs in my catalog that I'm holding like my little golden tickets, and I cannot wait to share them. And I'm constantly writing too. I still write all the time. I'm in Florida. I've been here for a week, locked in the studio 12 hours a day with one of my mentors and good friends, Fight Ren, who made his mark doing a lot of NSYNC and Backstreet Boys production, but he's a soul artist from Germany first. So we've been writing daily, we've been writing all week, and I'm always writing, so I just keep working my pen, girl, just keep working that pen.
Well, one thing that's really interesting about your album is that it has so many, I pick up the blues, the reggae, the hip-hop, it's all in there. It works. It's not forced. And I was wondering, what were some of your musical influences?
Well, there's a lot going on. When I was a little girl, my mom was touring. She's a singer as well. So my mom used to bring me on the road, and we were always in somebody's tour bus having rehearsals. So to be honest, she's the first influence for me because she had such a wide range of music she did. She was in an a cappella quartet for 4 years when I was a little girl, and she also played in rock bands. She sang with Bryan Adams, she sang with Bon Jovi, but she also sang with Marvin Gaye and Little Richard. And, so Stevie Wonder's always been a huge influence. Mm-hmm. Stevie and Marvin and all those classic greats. Actually, ironically enough, people used to call my mom the white Roberta Flack, which I think is hilarious. I end up working with her. But, and there's been Anita Baker, Take Six. There's been so much influence. And then, growing up as a teenager and as a young adult, and I was so in love with Lauryn Hill, Erykah Badu, Jill Scott, Maxwell D'Angelo, Prince. All of those were also huge influences for me. Alicia Keys, Justin Timberlake. There's just been a lot of great music that's come out. The classics were always an influence, but definitely a lot of these new classics were influential for me as well.
Yeah, she did use their intro, Honeysuckle Rose. I kept listening to it like, I know that. I couldn't get it out of my head. But it was an extra intro to your album. And I believe it was Louis Armstrong, right?
It's an old jazz standard. I know Louis has done a version. I'm pretty sure Nina Simone has a version. And there's a couple others. I think, not Etta, but the one who can scat amazingly. Ella Fitzgerald has a version. But my mother used to sing that to me as before bed as a lullaby. That was our song. She used to sing to me all the time. So that's, again, like I said, my mom's definitely been the #1 musical influence.
And what is, getting into the album, which, by the way, I must say, it was very well produced, which I hear a lot. I have to listen to a lot of music.
Thank you.
I have to wade through a lot of music, and I just want to let you know I thought it was very well produced. But
thank you. Yeah, I'm really proud of it. I have the greatest producers.
What was your role? Did you write all the music on the album?
Yep. They're all co-writes, basically how it would go. Four of the songs on the album were done by Daniel Fridell, who's a Swedish guy who lives in Denmark, and he's a beast. And we just basically did the same thing that I'm doing this week. We locked ourselves in the studio for 4 days. We knocked out a song every day, and we would sit there, we would write chords, and we'd write melodies, and then I'd write the lyrics, and then we'd get in the booth and just record them right there. And he's such an amazing musician. He played every instrument on the track, and he did each one in one take. Wow. And just, so we would just knock them out. It was like one of the best recording experiences of my life. And I had a similar experience with the reggae producer that's on the album. There's two reggae songs on the album, and he's also a Danish producer. But ironically, he's the dude that all the famous Jamaican artists are flying to Denmark to record with, and I just happened to run into him and meet him through a friend, and we just ended up working together. We did the same thing. We did 11 songs in 11 days. So 2 of them are on this album, but I'm going to release an entire reggae album soon. So there's just a lot of really wonderful experiences behind the music. Each song has its own story, has its own, the day that we recorded it. There's great stories behind it. It was just one of the most excellent experiences. It took me 7 years to complete the album because I was on tour the whole time. So it just took that long to actually get it together. Completing an album, I've just learned, this is my first record, so I've just learned completing an album is a huge task. I had to stop touring for a month and a half and work 12 hours a day on my computer in order to complete it. But it's done, yay!
It's done, it's great. Would you say there's a favorite track on the album for you?
Oh, you know what? Somebody asked me that last night, too, and it's like, they're all my babies. They're all my babies. It's hard. It's hard to say which one is my favorite. Each one has its own reason for being my favorite. My song, Fight for Him, I got to bring my whole band into the studio and record it live, so I'm singing with my band as if we're doing a concert. And recording that song was such a fun experience, and performing it is such a fun experience, and kids love it, and adults love it, and seniors love it. It's just one of those uplifting, high-energy tunes. But I Open My Heart, one of the reggae songs, every time I sing that, it's almost gospel. It makes me feel very uplifted and positive, and, I've actually performed it in a couple churches, because it is a true testament, even though it wasn't written for God, but it's just a testament in itself. And then, of course, my song, I think Heaven, which is my next single, might be my favorite. I don't know, I have a lot of favorites on the album. Heaven I can still listen to, even now, even though I've had that song for 5 years, I can still just pull it up and listen to it as if it's not my record. I really enjoy the song. So I guess, I don't know, I can't answer that question.
I must tell you that Fight for Him has become my niece's
Say that again?
favorite.
I didn't understand.
Fight for Him? Your song, Fight for Him? Yeah, it's become my niece's favorite. When she saw the videos, she calls herself boxing. And whenever we're in the gym, she's like, has this glaring on her eyes.
It's a great workout song, isn't it? We actually, we shot it at Mendez Boxing Gym in New York City, and we had to play the song on their speakers probably 25 times or 30 times. And by the end of it, all the boxing trainers asked me for a copy of it. They wanted to teach their classes with it. We even had an offer from Equinox Gym to bring it in and have me perform it live during their aerobics classes. It's definitely a great workout song for sure.
Definitely. Now, we are a lifestyle magazine, and our theme is your music, your life, your way. And I always ask that question, even though you seem to be extremely busy with your music. Is there anything you like to do outside of recording and touring?
Oh, there's tons of things I like to do. Do I get to do them? No, but I really love doing them. I've just discovered Moksha Yoga, which is it's a hot yoga, but it's not as intense as Bikram. It's more gentle, but it's brought so much peace to my life, and I'm usually quite scattered. I actually haven't practiced in about 3 weeks now, so I'm almost to that scattered place, by the way, just so you know. But when I'm off, I go to yoga at least once a day. Sometimes I'll do 2 in a day, and it's the best thing I've ever done for myself. And I'm really into animals. I love animals, and I wish I could have a pet, but I can't with my lifestyle own a pet at the moment. So if I wasn't a singer, I'd probably be doing something that involved animals, and maybe it would be just pets, but maybe it would also be like livestock. I have a dream of having a ranch one day. And having a summer camp where we teach kids about growing organic food and teach them yoga, teach them music and the therapy of it and the beauty of it and the art of it. And, yeah, that's the dream.
I know you have, like you said, you do have performances coming up tonight here at the Grand Central, I believe, in Miami with your listening party.
Yes. I'm really excited. Ingrid B. from the Bohemia Room put this release party together for me, and she wanted to make it a really sexy evening, so she's got Complex, who's an erotic poet. He's going to do some sexy poetry, and it's also a singles night, so there'll be some single, sexy bachelors and bachelorettes in the room. So I'm excited. I think it's going to be a good night. I'm going to be doing a love match.
I know. Great.
Yeah, it's going to be great. I wish you were in Miami so you could come, girl.
Oh, I wish I was in Miami, too.
I know, and it's all sunny and sexy. Yeah, but, you know, Memphis, I'm sure, is warm and beautiful right now, too.
Yeah, it's nice here. Not Miami, though.
Yeah, well, yeah.
And next Friday, I believe you're at the venue in Orlando. Yes,
May 3rd, which is next Friday. The venue is a new space in Orlando, and it's booked by a friend of mine who is an amazing artist herself. She does dance performance, theater performance, and she's a host for many events. So she's finally opened her own place. So I'm really excited to introduce the place to my people and introduce my people to my music, because I haven't been in Orlando for a long time. So I'm sure it's going to be a really big family reunion style night. It's going to be great.
And then after you're performing at Music Connect Live, Music Connect Live Showcase in London on Saturday, June 1st.
Yeah. So, Music Connect is... Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was just going to say, what can one expect at a Honey Larochelle performance?
Oh, man. Well, really what I try to do is bring the record to the stage, and then I try to bring the stage to the record. So I try to make sure that you know what you're going to get. It's always going to be solid. It's going to be, you know, uplifting. That's my goal, is to touch and move and inspire people and uplift people, so when they leave they feel happy and hopefully a little horny, go home, make love partner. Like, you know, I really made this record so people have something to sing in the mirror to and something to bump in their car. So at a Honey Larochelle performance, that's what you're going to get.
Great. And can you tell, before you go, can you tell our listeners and readers where they can find your music?
Yeah, the best place is iTunes or Amazon. And if you just search my name, Honey Larochelle, it's spelled Larochelle. And the album is called The Yes Feeling. Like, yes! So hopefully everybody will go to iTunes or Amazon, download the record, preview it, share it with your friends, support indie artists. I've started my own label. And I'm really excited at this opportunity to reach folks with the music. So thank you for the opportunity.
Oh, thank you so much for taking the time to share with our readers and listeners at XCL. I know you have a lot coming up, and we're looking forward to hearing even more from you.
Thank you.
Tasty, sticky, juicy treat. Let the busy bee